Hi, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tim, aka Tyke, and last time we went over my Nintendo DS collection. Today I'm going to go over my Nintendo 3DS collection. So this collection started back one Christmas when I was maybe 15 or 16, back in maybe 2013. Whenever Pokemon X came out, I asked my mom to get me a 3DS. She got me a 3DS XL when we went Black Friday shopping. It was a nice little blue 3DS, and I enjoyed it. However, I didn't get any games for the 3DS, so for a while I didn't have any games until I went out and picked up either Animal Crossing New Leaf or Pokemon X. One of those two games were my start to the 3DS, and while I no longer have the blue 3DS XL that I got initially, I now have the new 3DS XL, which I picked up when Majora's Mask 3D came out, which I enjoy. I use it a lot. I use it mainly to play DS games, even though I have the DS Lite. The DS Lite is like a new edition that I got after trying to case swap one, and so the 3DS has been like my go-to handheld game machine other than my Vita. But Vita for another day. And I really like the 3DS. I think it's a great little system. I mean, I'm a big fan of it. Let's get into pretty much what I have on my 3DS. First, we'll talk about some digital games, and then once we talk about the digital games, I'll move into some of the physical games. The first game I want to get over that I own, that I don't actually have downloaded on my 3DS due to spatial issues, is Detective Pikachu. I thought Detective Pikachu was great. I feel like the movie ruined the game a bit because there was still some mystery at the end as to who the dad was, but the movie kind of answered that question. The movie set up for a sequel, so did the game. We've been waiting for Detective Pikachu for years, Nintendo, and maybe one day it'll come. But that day is not today. But I thought the game was great in terms of a detective game. They're not usually my go-to style of game, but Detective Pikachu was one of like the cemented reasons that I wanted to get a 3DS, and it was well worth it in my opinion. So, I don't know how well you can see this, but the games I currently have downloaded on my 3DS are Ocarina of Time 3D and Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. I have Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, and I could use this as a controller for that game, but I haven't thoroughly played through that game, and I played through a little bit of Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, for the 3DS, and I thought it was fine, but for Ocarina of Time, honestly, I think the first digital game I got for the 3D. It's definitely the first digital game I got for the 3DS. I haven't played it fully through. That's just because Ocarina of Time's one of my least favorite Zelda games. It's in like my top 3 bottom. I know that's gonna get a lot of hate, but I honestly just prefer Majora's Mask a lot better. I think Majora's Mask is the better thing, but I do want to actually go through and play the game from start to finish, because when I've played it before, I've only managed to do everything as Child Link, and I've done nothing as Adult Link. That's because when I first played it, I got stuck in the Forest Temple, and I didn't let that experience hate me. I don't hate the game. It doesn't have a draw to me that it does other people. One of the other games I have digitally on the Switch One of the other games I have digitally on the 3DS that I don't actually have downloaded right now as well is The Legend of Dark Witch, which is like a 2D side-scrolling game. I think the game is fine, but overall the game, I bought it for very cheap. I think I got it for like $2, and it's a game. It's a digital game. It doesn't take up a lot of space, but I think I removed it to see if I could make room for Detective Pikachu, because I potentially wanted to play that again, and I could either have Super Smash Bros. Or Detective Pikachu, and I thought, Detective Pikachu is a game I'll play once. Smash Bros. Is a game I'll play all the time. I am wrong. I do not play it at all. So we're going to talk about my only loose game for the 3DS, which is The Legend of Korra: A New Era Begins, which, as a big fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, I thought this game was going to be great. I really enjoy the Legend of Korra game on consoles, and I have it on PC. I even played through it. There's an entire playthrough on the channel of me playing through most of the game, because I never finished editing it. Yeah, I played that game twice, and I enjoyed it the first time a lot more than I did the second time. The second time was a bit more challenging. But this game is a turn-based RPG, and turn-based RPGs are just not my go-to, or like my bread and butter. It's a fine game, but at the same time, I just did not like it. I think it could be better. It's not what I wanted it to be. It's a lot worse off than what I wanted it to be. Next up, we have Wreck-It Ralph for the 3DS. I own this game for the DS. I played the DS one. Based on the pictures on the back, and I think I showed this off in the DS video, I think it is the exact same game. I've yet to confirm it. Someone wants me to confirm it, but I'm also like, I don't really want to do that, you know? I don't want to go and confirm that this is the right game. Or the exact same game. It's a game. It might not be quality, but it's a game. Epic Mickey Castle of Illusion. Or sorry, Power of Illusion, which is an Epic Mickey game. It is the worst of the 3 Epic Mickey games. My least favorite, as someone who's an avid collector of copies of Epic Mickey, who has like 13 copies of that game, and I like the sequel, and I have a couple different copies of the sequel, I thought this game would be a little bit more like that. Technically, it takes Castle of Illusion and adds it to like the Epic Mickey like franchise. But this game, and then the sequel not being received really well, just caused Epic Mickey to fall off as a franchise, and this game, as like a spin-off, is fine. It's challenging, but I hate it. It doesn't represent what it doesn't represent what an Epic Mickey game is supposed to be. An Epic Mickey game is supposed to be about painting and reconnecting with your past. This game is just, they wanted to do a remake of of the Genesis game, and it doesn't do it well. Next up is Legend of Oz, Dorothy's Quest. So I got this game for like $4 on a shelf, and I'm like, this is what I want to play on my birthday. So I spent the entirety of my 26th birthday, no, that was earlier this year, playing through The Legend of Oz, Dorothy's Quest. So the plot of this game is you follow along to defeat the evil villain, the Jester, right there. The Jester. There's a movie on Amazon for The Legend of Oz, Dorothy's Return. She comes back to Oz after the whole Wizard of Oz scenario, and the Jester is trying to, like, get the Wicked Witch to come back or something. The plot was a little bit incoherent. I had my roommate and his girlfriend watch it with me. It was fun. And then I played through the game, but the game is kind of like a Candy Crush clone. And then it got really challenging at the end. It took me 3 days because I kept, like, having to use special moves, and it was a time. I would recommend playing it if you want like something simplistic and easy. I was trying to beat 50 games this year, and I've only beat 19, and that was one of them. And I would play it again. I wouldn't play it again right now, but I would play it again in the future. Next up is some games that I haven't played, and also a bit thematic. We have Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. I'm not a big fan of A Link to the Past. I played it a bit on the GBA, got confused, didn't like it, never wanted to pick this up, found this for cheap, and do want to give it a shot. But I do know that I need to play A Link to the Past first, so I can understand that fully, because I know it is technically a sequel, because it takes place on the same map. Next up is also Triforce Heroes. I wish I got this game back when I had friends that had 3DSs. Not a lot of people have 3DSs now, and that game would be much more fun multiplayer than it would be, and I wish they kind of released something like that on the Switch, because I would get that. I would get that and play that with my friends. My favorite Zelda game of all time, and the one that made me get the new 3DS XL, The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask 3D. I've really liked this game. I liked what it did to implement, like, new features into the game. I like how it updated it. I initially beat it on the GameCube, and I think on this one, I got to the Great Bay Temple. Yeah, I got to the Great Bay Temple, and then that boss just made me angry, and I did not want to move forward with it. But I did have fun playing the game, for all that I played the game, because I tried to beat that game for most of my childhood, and when I beat it the first time, I was extremely happy, and I liked playing it again, and it was enjoyable. But also, sometimes you just play through games, and you just want to have a fun time. Next up, we have Animal Crossing New Leaf. As a player who's played Animal Crossing since the first one, this game was a step up from Wild World, a step up from City Folk, and a step up from the population growing. I like this game. I think it was fun. You were able to be the mayor. I never got really far in the game, but I did play it a lot because I did not have a Switch until 2021. And when I got the Switch, I got New Horizons, and this takes all of the... obviously, New Horizons takes all of the best features of this game and just makes it better. But always an avid Animal Crossing fan, but they always fall into the same category of you play them for X amount of time, and then after a point they get stale, and then you don't play them again. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the cycle of those games. So that's why like they need updates. And if they're not updated constantly for new material, people are going to be like, well, I don't want to play this anymore. And it's the same fatigue that everyone I've known and that everyone that I know has ever played. So, next up, so this isn't actually a game I have anymore, but this is a CD case for, or this is a game case for Kingdom Hearts 3D. I used to own Kingdom Hearts 3D. I kept it in my wallet like a smart boy. And with keeping it in my wallet, it eventually fell out. But I still have the manual. And I do keep a game in here, but it's not anything exciting. I keep Happy Home Designer in it, because it's the only other loose game I have. And I had this empty case, so I'm like, I might as well put Happy Home Designer in it. And my experience with Happy Home Designer is, obviously, it's all about designing houses in the Animal Crossing world, and that's now implemented in, with the latest update in Animal Crossing. I thought it was fine. I played it for like 20 minutes, and was like, this is a game for someone, this is not a game for me. But I like keeping it, because I like having all the Animal Crossing games, even though that's probably my least favorite. No, my second least favorite, because Amiibo Festival is 100% my least favorite. And then next up we have all of the reasons as to why I bought the 3DS in the first place, which is the reason why a lot of people bought the 3DS. Pokemon games. It's the only thing that ever really keeps me back to Nintendo. Pokemon games. I got Pokemon X, which that was back when I had a little bit more online friends that played a lot of Pokemon games in high school, and we would battle each other all of the time. It was when I first tried to get more competitive with competitive battling, and I did not do well at all. I'm pretty sure I lost 90% of my matches and maybe won 10%. I am not great at this, but I had fun. All of my Pokemon from this game have now been moved into Pokemon Bank, or they were moved into Alpha Sapphire, which I'm a big fan. Pokemon Sapphire is my favorite Pokemon game of all time. When I get to my Game Boy Advance collection video, I will go more in detail on my experience with Pokemon Sapphire. But Alpha Sapphire I got when I was in college. I played through the entire game, and I'm not gonna lie, it was one of those experiences where I wanted to play the game to relive my youth, but I hated the process. Like, the game is good, but in the time, with what I was going through at the time, I just wasn't in, like, a happy place. This game did not help. I thought it would, like, cement something, but all it would do for me is, well, it would remind me of nostalgia. I was just, like, I felt like I had to push through it, which is not the way you want to play a game. You want to play a game because it's fun. You don't want to play a game because you're pushing through it. If you feel like you're pushing through a game, it's better to just put the game down and then move on to a different game. But because it was Pokemon, and it was my favorite Pokemon game, and it was remade, I figured I should give it a shot. Next up we have Pokemon Moon. I did not get Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon. Pokemon Moon was the last Pokemon game I played, and I considered it to be the last Pokemon game I was ever going to play. I do have Pokemon Shield for the Switch, but I have yet to play Pokemon Shield, and I have Pokemon Let's Go. I have played that, I enjoyed it. But this game, because we're talking about this game, I enjoyed. It rejuvenated Pokemon for me compared to when I played Alpha Sapphire, and it just kind of made me hate my Pokemon. Not hate my Pokemon, but hate Pokemon in general a little bit more, because I just wasn't feeling it. But this game rejuvenated that for me, and I loved it. And then I kept all my Pokemon in here until recently I moved them all into Pokemon Home on my Switch, for when the new Inevitable game comes out, because I did pre-order Pokemon Pokemon Violet, and I'm excited, because that game is going to be great, and I'm always happy to have Pokemon games. But yeah, so that would be my 3DS collection. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and if you like these videos, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, those are pictures of Harley Quinn. Have a great day.